Hello YouTube, this is Nite Misfortune bringing you yet another replay from the SCS League, which is about 3/4 of the way done. Today I have a match for you between Maugan Ra and Hope. The first map was, I believe, Maugan Ra's choice, but I could be mistaken. But this is Way Station Zeta, which has been picked and banned about equally. This is one of those maps that is actually very well balanced. As much as I don't like this map, we see that we have about a 33-50-40 split for win rates on this map, so fairly decent map so far. Let us see how this game goes. I'm paused at 5 seconds. Gonna unpause in 3, 2, 1, go. And let's introduce our players. On the left hand side we've got the orange commander doing all of the eco things. We have Hope already not really actually putting down any factories as of yet. Let's see. Oh, there it goes. First land factory, 2 land factory, standard opening. And his opponent on the right are SCS SOW Winter 19 winner, the red UEF commander with the name of Maugan Ra, who is going a quick air factory here. Let us see what he will make of that. Both these players are great players. So far they have a very good win rate percentage of around 60%. And of course, Maugan Ra, as I mentioned, is our victor for the first event of the year. Technically, I guess it was the last event of last year, but it is the first of this cycle of this SCS event that I'm running. I'm hoping that, you know, we can get some more players playing. So please keep an eye out for more leagues and more tournaments. We have the 10-year anniversary tournament going on, happening here pretty soon. So go ahead and sign up for that to support the game. Even if you're not good, there's a lot of players signed up. We are almost at 32 players. Would be awesome if we could get to 64. We have about a week left, which is not out of the realm of possibility. I know there's a lot of players playing here, so you should sign up for sure. Meanwhile, we have a scout just sitting overhead of Hope's base, seeing all of the things, all the 3 factories. But that doesn't scare Maugan Ra. He is going to come down here and going to build a land factory for himself right in the center. Looks like he's changing his mind exactly where he wants to place it. I think that's a little bit safer choice because you don't want to get MML'd to the face. I also wanted to say that I do apologize that there hasn't been a video for a little bit. I feel like I'm not making these as much. I honestly don't know what has been happening. Been playing. That's what I've been doing. I've been playing a lot of Supreme Commander, and honestly I lose track of time, and by the time, usually I only have time on Sundays. That's when I'm making this video, and then I start playing, and then it's like 7 p.m. and then I have to go to the gym, and anyway, it doesn't happen. But today I actually stopped playing even though there's a lot of good games going on. There's been a lot of good players honored today, so to make this a good, hopefully good video. There's an anti-air factory coming, or anti-air station coming down here for Hope in the back. Beautiful play to protect his base. Meanwhile, he's going to start pushing out here as his opponent is setting up shop here. It looks like he's actually going to go around. This is a beautiful move. However, these bombers are going to make life difficult for Hope as he hopes to get a little flank here going. He'll probably need an anti-air point thing. It's a very scientific term for it. However, I imagine that he's hurting quite a bit for mass, although he did pause or cancel the production in one of his factories, so that will surely be a bonus for him. And interestingly enough, he's actually ahead in his mass production. Well, I guess they're tied. No, actually, no, I was totally wrong. Maugan Ra is definitely better. Loyalists still taking bombs to the face. Don't believe a single loyalist has died, though. Definitely could spread your units a little bit better there, Hope. But nevertheless, there's the split. Very beautiful. Bombers are also switching target priorities so that they are trying to get as many bots as possible. Meanwhile, there's a land factory coming out straight up here in the front of the line here. I'm actually going to speed up the game to 2, so here we are. More, there's finally that, oh, actually that's the second loyalist. Beautiful job reclaiming some of that mass. And the thing is here is that once this factory goes down here, you put a missile launcher on it. That's going to be able to reach, I believe, all of this. And Maugan Ra has built his energy generators in a line here, which is fairly unfortunate. I know I've talked about before how this protects from bombing runs from planes that are coming down from the west. However, missile launchers are able to kind of lob their shots over here, which is very, very nasty. As you can see, that first shot is going to connect with that mass extractor right there. And this is a fairly disadvantageous position. Nevertheless, Maugan Ra does have 3 land factories here, so he will be able to keep up with his opponent a little bit well, because also his factories are closer to the front line, if you will, whereas Hope has 3 of his factories back in his base. And that third one has started producing again. This engineer is continuing to expand, finally grabbing that mass extractor. I believe the lead is still only 1. No, actually 0. There's no lead. Although Hope did manage to take out this mass extractor here, and as I said here, his factory is gonna continue to bombard those energy generators. Both engineers doing a good job. Well, as I say that, this guy just stops here in the middle of nowhere. What are you doing, engineer? This isn't a summer break. You ain't in no water. Just because it's a ledge doesn't mean it's the vacation spot. Get your ass back in it. All right. Meanwhile, Hope is doing something very interesting here. He actually decided to forfeit this location to exchange 2 factories for 1, and this is a very, very good trade for Hope because he gets 2 land factories. But not only that, he has managed to take out this mass extractor twice and an energy generator. So he's definitely in the lead now for research points, but also in mass now. I believe he took the advantage spot, although Maugan Ra has started to build his mass extractors in the back here, so that's gonna kind of stabilize his mass a little bit as Hope is struggling to get some energy generators down. I mean, with 5 factories essentially is what he's built so far. It's kind of tough. Each one of these factories is 500 energy, so once you go down, it's hard to keep up if you don't have enough generators on the back end. Meanwhile, Maugan Ra is barely rebuilding his 3rd land factory. His land force consists a lot of mobile missile launchers, which is not a very good force against all of these bots. Hope only has bots in his force. Well, he does have a couple of Brackmen, but the point is that all of these units are very good ground firing, our main army composition units, and this adapter should come up here and start bombarding these wasps, which they will, but Maugan Ra will manage to get a scout. Nope, turns around. Interesting, alright. Although there isn't much to scout. I mean, you pretty much know what you have here. Then it's not even a scout. He just forfeits 2 planes. Let's see if Hope reclaims that. Nope, he does not. Going for a research station, which is a fairly good idea here. I'm going to put 1 more speed on that, going up to 3, as Maugan Ra is bringing his planes over here, starting to bombard these mass extractors, which is a beautiful move because there's no anti-air here. An anti-air station is starting to be built over here in a beautiful position. Maugan Ra will have to arrange his bombers to attack in the proper manner here. Manages to take out 1 mass extractor as he does not lose a single bomber. This engineer is also going to go down as it finishes that mass extractor. So quite unfortunate timing here. These bombers, though, are going to fly directly overhead over these adapters as the armies are going to clash here. And we see that those demolishers are starting to get their shots off, forcing that army to retreat. And Hope is going to go back a little bit more and probably going to wait until he has something to push through those shields and demolishers as another radar goes down. And that is quite strong. However, unfortunately, Maugan Ra did lose quite a bit of bombers earlier, so that's not quite a threatening force at this point. Of course, you need about 16 to 20 or 15 to 20 bombers to really be a nuisance to your opponent. I believe the magic number to take out a mass extractor is 16. Maybe it's 18. I keep confusing the numbers all the time. But Nevertheless, he doesn't have those bombers. He does continue to harass, though. This is something that I've been noticing a lot of good. The better players, is what they're doing is they're always utilizing their air, like I mentioned in one of my previous episodes. Always moving it around, always looking for an opportunity. He scouted here to see if there's maybe any mass extractors he could take for free, and retreats beautifully back here. However, he does have them sitting down here. I would try and actually take out some of these mass extractors in the back here. Speaking of which, let's do a quick assessment on mass extractors. It looks like both players have their main bases taken up, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Otherwise here for Hope, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 for Maugan Ra. So Maugan Ra is a little bit ahead of mass. However, you wouldn't be able to tell that from his base here. He only has 4 land factories, although he did lose 2. But nevertheless, I would expect a little bit more. And 2 research stations here, and 2 research stations, a 3rd research station coming down for Hope here. So that is going to get him to that megalith, which is most likely what he's doing a little bit quicker. However, as I say that, Maugan Ra plops down that Fat Boy Factory, land gantry, sorry. I mean, yeah, I guess you could call it a Fat Boy Factory. It doesn't really produce anything other than that. As we start seeing, there's actually missile launchers on this air factory that's going to start bombarding again these poor energy generators and mass extractors as the army is coming in here, and we see a beautiful ground fire from Maugan Ra here, going to slow down the advance of Hope a little bit here. Now, I was gonna say it's kind of interesting that Maugan Ra got his Fat Boy factory first because, well, it's not really interesting because I think since Hope had to go adapters and probably Cobras. He probably has Cobras somewhere in this mix. Ooh, nice upgrade there with jump jets. He is also going jump jets. That's what he's going for. He isn't going for megalith. You don't need megaliths when you've got jump jets and detonation. Beautiful detonation. They're taking out half of the army. Actually, I think that was all demolishers. No, the demolishers were here, and now they got demolished. Ain't that ironic? As Hope is just gonna roll through Hope's base and gonna take out this land gantry. Honestly, he doesn't even need to take it out. That Fat Boy is actually going to finish, but that Fat Boy is not going to do anything. Fat Boys are very, very bad in this situation, close range. Maugan Ra is taking a lot of fire from those loyalists, and he goes down in game 1 here as our Hope, Cybern Hope, takes the lead in this match. I will be right back with game 2. Don't go anywhere. Hello everybody, welcome back to the match between Maugan Ra and Hope. The second match is of course on Desolatia. Something I didn't mention is that we did switch the map pool just a little bit. We got rid of, I believe it was Iskellian, no, I don't remember what the map of the name of the map of the name. I'm struggling with words today, forgive me. But we replaced Finn's Revenge and the other poor map with Desolatia and Iskellian Coast. And so this is a new map on this cast, of course, and thus I don't really have a statistic breakdown that's going to be able to tell you a lot as of yet. However, I will cover this map a little bit before we start here. So of course these ridges is what makes this map so unique, because you can take your MMLs and just position them here, and your opponent's base is wide open, so it becomes very, very crucial that you have control of the center on this map, because if you don't, you're going to lose all of your precious mass and probably the rest of your base, at which point it just becomes so difficult to come back. If you're facing an Aeon player, it's even worse. I haven't seen too many Aeons on this map for some reason. People have been picking so far UEF, as you'll see in this match. So with that being said, let's go ahead and see how this match goes. I'm actually going to increase the speed to 3 to begin with. Actually 2. We'll go up to 3 a little bit later. And I'm going to pause in 3, 2, 1. So let's go ahead and introduce our players. In the top left, again, we've got our orange, not Cybern this time, UEF, Hope from Clan MM, spawning over here, building one land factory. I imagine he's going to throw down a second land factory. There it goes. Because again, once again, you can't really play anything else on this map because that center control is so crucial. I mean, you can, but it's very difficult. His opponent on the bottom right, unfortunately going down so far in the first match, 0-1. We have our red UEF commander, Maugan Ra. Also building 2 land factories, although his factories, I believe, are a little tiny bit slower. As you can see, that first unit for both players is a mobile missile launcher. Did I predict it or did I not? I guess I didn't really say it, but I told you that mobile missile launchers are very, very strong here. Also, the expansion patterns are a bit strange in this on this map, because really your best path for your engineer to get new mass extractors is exactly what both of these players are doing, kind of going around back here. And then on the other side, yeah, you can send your engineer over there, but it's kind of hard to maintain, especially if you miss a flank over here. It's a little bit more risky, and they're just so far spread apart. So it's a little bit of a smaller, tighter map. Another reason why air is not necessarily a good plan on this map. Both of these players, as you can see, rushing for the center line. Hope's factories are a little bit earlier, though. Both of these players throwing it into the composition. Quite a bit of mobile missile launchers, although I think I agree with Maugan Ra's plan to keep it down to a 2. Maybe I would have even stuck to a 1, as he sees now there's land coming out from his opponent, and he sees that there's, because of that later factory that he had, he's going to be down on land, and that's exactly what you want to do as Hope. Is when you see that you're up on land, is try and get to this position right here. However, for some reason he backs up there. I'm not quite sure what he was afraid of, what he saw. However, Maugan Ra does have quite a bit of tanks, so it would have been close. And one thing that is a thing on this map is once you go down here, it's a little bit harder to retreat. Your really only option is to keep going down and south over here. At which point, because your opponent is probably likely chasing you from the top, so that puts your army out of position, and then your opponent can, depending on if you have a base here or not, which is most likely what happens, it's a little bit of a riskier situation. These players are starting to trade MML fire. We see demolishers coming out from Maugan Ra, so he's going to be attacking towards that same fat boy most likely. Although on this map it's very rare. I don't think I've seen actually, no, that's not true. There's been a replay submitted this week where I saw megaliths on this map, so I guess there is some experimental potential on this map, as you see Maugan Ra being very, very smart and setting one of his MMLs. MMLs are basically useless in this case because his opponent is not setting up a base here in the center. He can't really flank over here because, once again, his opponent outnumbers him, and also it's quite dangerous because there's really no good retreat pattern here. However, somehow Hope manages to notice this lonely MML going around here, and probably going to be able to intercept it here. Both players are doing a good job expanding. I would say, no, they're actually even on mass extractors. Energy generators looks good for Maugan Ra, looks good for Hope. Man, these players are basically mirroring each other on this build. This tank is going to be used for scouting. Very nice play there. Sees that the composition from Hope is mainly tanks. Those demolishers are going to be quite useful here. And gonna be just gonna go and see if he can poke around. Basically free shots from the demolishers there, so gonna be very, very good as Hope decides to finally throw down a land factory of his own here in the center. However, unfortunately, there is well, I guess there's only two second MML coming in here, so maybe it will be able to take something out here. That was a scout tank, so that wasn't part of the main army, as Hope's ACU is starting to take demolisher fire directly to the face here, and those tanks are actually going around for some reason. I think this is a miss queue. Unfortunately, for some reason the game thinks that this way is shorter, and he decides to pull his tanks back here because he doesn't. I don't think he even sees this as of yet, but by now he does. It's going to come into Engineer's radar view, and you can just see the power demolishers. Maugan Ra is doing a great job over here, microing his units around so he doesn't take any fire here. So it looks like it's going to be demolishers versus shields here, as he does take an unfortunate couple of shots here from mobile missile launchers. That's not something you want to have your army taking. And he has not yet connected with the army of Hope, so Hope is also doing a really good job here as this missile launcher is making its way around the back here to try and take out this mass extractor over here. more Demolisher shots are gonna, well, they're gonna be deflected by those shields on that factory. And Maugan Ra is going all in with his land forces, so there are no P-shields for him. He's just gonna try and roll through this army, and honestly, there is quite a bit of P-shields, but not enough to make that big of a difference. And when you start losing out on tanks, I mean, tanks, Demolishers versus P-shields are pretty good early on, I would say. You just have to make a good connection, and then you're pretty much golden. This MML is going to manage to take out that mass extractor over here, as Hope does decide to split off quite a bit of his units to take out one mobile missile launcher. Quite unfortunate, as Maugan Ra continues to take MML fire to the face. That is very, very unfortunate. Demolisher fire still not connecting. However, those missile launchers are connecting with the shields, so they're going to lower them a little bit, as this mobile missile launcher is gonna manage to maybe take out this mass extractor here. Indeed, it managed to take out the engineer. All right, then. This army is just sitting here. Not only did he take off quite a bit of units here, he's also gonna lose a mass extractor before that MML finally goes down. Hero MML. This is like a freaking Navy SEAL MML or something. A lot of shields for Hope. 5 factories for Hope, 5 factories for Maugan Ra. There's a research station though for Maugan Ra, and there's a sneaky engineer up here that hasn't decided to start taking over this extractor over here. We see Maugan Ra just fighting everywhere, causing his opponent quite a bit of headache on all fronts as he's continuing to flank, although this radar, wherever this radar is going to catch that. However, he's not yet pulling any army back. Unfortunately, going to try and go for a push. I missed some tanks going down here. These look like demolishers, so I'm not sure what happened there. And so far, no hints at what tech Maugan Ra is going to be going. He's building another research station. Meanwhile, his opponent is getting another land factory, so that's going to put him up a little bit. But, I mean, at this point, they're quite very, very equal. And this excursion force over here is going to be quite a bit of a headache for Hope. Again, they are going to go around the wrong way. This is very curious because the game thinks this path is closer than going this way. And Maugan Ra is just going to use that to try and sneak them back into the back. Unfortunately, of course, this army does notice that, and Maugan's other portion of his army does not manage to capitalize on that move back. Finally manages to capture this mass extractor up in the north. However, it's going to get taken out, but he did get a free mass extractor. Let's see if he controls K's that. Doesn't look like it. Nope, he's not going to control K that. Going to let his opponent take the extra research. Oh, and there's P-shields for Maugan Ra. However, he did let his opponent into this very, very dangerous area. These massive MMLs will start doing work on these extractors here, and that's going to be very, very dangerous for Maugan Ra. But his army does manage to come over here and start firing those demolisher shots. The army of Hope cannot stick around here, taking out one mobile missile launcher here. As shields for Maugan Ra fall. That's 1 unit for 1 unit exchanged here so far. This is a very dangerous position for Hope to be fighting because of those demolishers. He cannot micro in that tight space and gonna retreat there. As Maugan Ra is doing exactly what I said. He's gonna move his army over here, causing a full retreat for Hope. As these armies collide with each other, there's going to be some traits of demolisher fire, as both these armies mainly have demolishers. I would love to see Maugan Ra to use those 2 tanks to kind of go up ahead. Unfortunately, I think those demolisher shots for Hope are going to connect, and as both players actually are focusing a lot on microing their main armies. However, Maugan Ra does lose out on that demolisher fire, unfortunately. However, both players sustained heavy losses there, managing to take out that land factory over here, and you can just see the power of MMLs here and being up into your face as your main army is protected by that demolisher. Deadly demolisher fire. Of course, Maugan Ra has way more demolishers at this point, and honestly, Hope does not have that much land firing forces. His tanks are also in the back of his army, so... Well, actually, as I say that, I don't see many tanks for Maugan Ra either, so they're about equal, as Maugan Ra does go up on factories. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Only 4 for Hope. That is going to be quite difficult. These demolishers up in the north are just sitting there not doing much. Unfortunate for them, as their brethren in the center are struggling to get control. However, these demolishers are gonna connect with the shields, gonna bring them down, as Maugan Ra's army continues to take a mobile missile launcher fire to the face. They're actually quite good against land units if they connect with them. So your job is really not to let them, as Hope finally takes his upper force and is gonna start causing a lot of trouble for Maugan Ra up there. If he can manage to hold out here. There's a very annoying point defense over here that manages to go down from that MML fire. However, there's just so much production for Maugan Ra here. He is starting to outspam his opponent, and you just see this epic clash. There's a bit of miss micro also for Hope, as he loses a lot of his army. Meanwhile, Maugan Ra hasn't even lost his shields on his army, and Hope's army just melts away. And he decides to control K his ACU, because indeed all hope has been lost, and that is gonna end this match in a draw. So 1-1. Both players played very, very well, and you can just see again, just one mistake in Supreme Commander 2 causes you quite a bit of trouble. Even though I think Hope did make some mistakes early on, missing some flanks and not flanking by himself either. So, very good game. Nevertheless, 1-1 draw. Let's look at the league table at the end of round 8. Although I did extend the timeline, so people are going to have a little bit more time to play. We see Little Row at the top of the league with 18 points so far, and Unknown Desire 2 points behind him. However, Alpha Hex has 2 games lower and also at 16 points. So in all essence, he is the leader right now, despite what this says. The reason why Unknown is ahead of him is because Unknown won more map wins. He has 12 map wins while Alpha has 11. So it goes by points and then map wins. So the difference is just there for you to kind of gauge their performance, and we see that the top 4 has pretty much remained unchanged. Of course, we had Vanity fall out. That has been one of my most surprising things that I've seen recently. Vanity just falls from spot 2, as he's been in the top 4 for a long time. He drops down to spot number 8. That's been pretty shocking. Jwix managing to climb quite a bit of spots up to number 5. However, he does have 2 games on his on the people behind him, so that might change very soon. And then of course Hope and Fortuna all are still in a running for that 4th place. I want to remind you that the top 4 players have a chance to play for an automatic qualification for the end of the year tournament. That is pretty significant. So as long as you're in that top 4, you're pretty golden. And then the second top 4 also has their own little playoff, but that's just for bonus points. So we'll see, shaping up quite an interesting league. I mean, 2 surprises for me. I already mentioned Vanity, and then Rainbows in 10th place. I think I really, really like her games. She is a great player, but had a lot of ties and lost a couple of games recently. But nevertheless, very, very competitive league. Just hoping that more matches get played and more interesting matches for me to cast, so that I can bring you more replays. Once again, if you have replays you want me to consider for the match of the week, it is not just for this league. If you want to mail those in to me, or send them, probably Discord is better, because I actually don't check my mail very much. Go ahead and send them directly through Discord to me and be like, Nite, this is a good replay, I want you to consider it. probably in a week like this week or last week where I didn't have any casts, I would have cast a good match. So let me know. I do prefer that it be a best out of 3, of course, but of course if it's a good 4v4 or a 3v3, always send those to me. Anyway, I think this replay has been gone far long enough. Thank you very much, everybody, for playing. I will be bringing you yet another replay, hopefully sometime next week. If you have any suggestions, please do so. Let me know in the comments. And then, of course, follow me, like, and subscribe. And check out some of my other videos. I don't just do Supreme Commander 2. I really want to grow my channel into a gaming channel, mostly about strategy games, but of course, I'll be doing some other stuff. So once again, this has been Night of Misfortune. Thank you very much for watching, and I will see you very, very soon.